Take off! It's time for Doug and Ben's Great NASCAR Adventure!
And reporting from the inside of Turn 6 of the Roval, Marshall himself.
Where all the action happened. Like
all the action.
All of it.
Capital A, capital L, capital other L. All. Yep. Never have I regretted not attending a race so much in my life.
Yes, I think my most enjoyable moment, we'll talk about it later, happened just before the first overtime.
Yes.
Someone was doing donuts through the grass.
Right. Hey, Keith Campbell. Oh, yeah. More on that later.
Coming up. It's coming
more
up.
On that later. Yes.
More on a lot of things. More on something that you heard about here a while ago.
Well, and also, I am going to say Keith here dropped some knowledge on me this morning.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So he actually broke some of the news that we're going to break on the show. He broke to me first. Because, all right, yeah, I'm on air.
But some of that would have been like a little while ago. We kind of said it was going to happen, and it did.
Yeah. The moment we had heard somebody was going here, we're like, hey, 3 drivers, 2 rides. What's up, Terry? What's up, Symmetry?
So,
yes. So, anything
to talk about this weekend?
Going into the race.
Going into the race, yes.
Yes. Marco Andretti was making his NASCAR debut in the Xfinity Series, and Connor Daly making his debut in the Cup Series. Apparently, and I think, once again, our not resident expert in the booth, Pop-Tart, we got 5 drivers in the race that have run in the Indy 500. No, 5 over the course of the weekend. Because I'm doing the math, and I'm like, there's not 5 drivers in the Cup race that have run Indy.
But there was also something else before that. Thursday morning.
Yes.
Not just the NASCAR booth. I could now also be on the appeals panel. Because somehow.
Yes.
The 24 spinning out Denny Hamlin on a caution didn't happen.
Nope.
No. We're not going to fine you those points. We're not going to take the points away. We're going to let you keep the points because we need, the 48 is not going to make it because Bowman is out again. So we need to have 300 cars in that final 8. Yes. So we're just going to fine you the $100,000 and we're going to give you your points back.
Yep.
More on that later.
Sure. Okay. So, Xfinity race.
Started off. I don't know if any of you watched it. The invocation.
I did.
They even say during the invocation. Stand up.
That was last week.
No, that was this past week. It's not the Roval here. Okay. Stand up. Remove your hats for the invocation.
Yes. So,
one team.
Blues and Jeff P. And
one
Guitar
team.
Man 45.
One team. You got to see them right at the end when they were doing it. Driver, hat on, looking somewhere.
Well, there's only one driver that does that on a regular basis.
With the rest of his team, hats on, kind of joking around during the invocation.
Yep.
And that was the 9 team. I did send a tweet out to Junior Motorsports, and no one said a thing.
I bet. Yeah. So, there you go. So, I can't remember. Yes?
Then we start the pace laps.
Okay, I was going to mention who was on the pole first.
You can do that.
I believe it was Gibbs, wasn't it?
Could have been.
It was Gibbs or Dinger.
Yeah. Then pace laps, somebody figured something out. He'd only been going there for, I don't know, how long has he been around? Like 30 years?
Yeah.
something I knew in 2011.
The first time you set foot.
The first time I went to bed and laid down, that the infield is not flat. It's not flat. There's hills.
Yeah.
There's elevation.
In fact,
It's not a freaking redneck hill, idiot.
I was going to say, in fact, Steve Letarte spent 20 years in the garage, right? How many times a day, Doug, would he have gone in and out of that garage entrance at Charlotte Motor Speedway? Like hundreds, right? Over the years? There's a special merch booth right there. All you have to do is look slightly to the right as you're leaving, where they have merch only available in that merch location.
I will do you one better. Do you remember where the crew chiefs used to have to park?
Oh, you mean hill adjacent?
Well, they used to have to walk up a little incline to get to the road to walk down towards the pit area.
Yeah. I have a feel. Yeah, but no, he didn't. He was part of the Hendrick shuttle bus department. They all have the 10-seat vans where they shuttle the team over. They didn't park there. So, yes. Fun fact. There's elevation changes in the infield of Charlotte Motor Speedway. You know why? Because there's big rocks and boulders in there.
And you know what else? The elevation was there last year when he called the race too.
Yep. And the year before that.
Also,
the year before that.
The other thing, I have to show it because just NBC, you know what? You do a great job. But you see, when you go and get your things to show the Roval, the course layout, get a picture that's a little recent.
Well, you notice it was Google Earth.
Because apparently
they were too cheap to send up a drone, Doug, is what I'm saying.
They did a bit of right there. A bit of rebuilding over on that part of
those grandstands have not existed for the better part of 10 years.
This turn 2 grandstands, and apparently there's a lot of other dirt there that's now asphalt as well.
Yeah. I will say, well, maybe Google Earth needs to update their images, or NBC could shell out the $300 on the Jungle website and buy a drone. Send it up.
Over half that booth knows people with a red helicopter.
More than half that booth have ridden in that red helicopter. Mm-hmm. Again, see, he doesn't park. Red helicopter brings them over, Doug. Hey, guess what? While you're in the helicopter, just reach out with the old iPhone and screen grab or whatever.
I have a feeling the NASCAR is going to flag us again for this little part.
Yeah. So, into the race. Yeah. The race of the weekend was definitely the Xfinity race.
Yes.
And if you happen to be one of our friends, you got to see everything happen right there. Like pretty much every single incident either happened going into turn 6 or out of turn 6 into 7. So they either had to slightly turn their neck that way or slightly turn their neck that way. All the action. So, which we got to see our friends a lot. All the onboard cameras and the roof cams, you can see when they're coming through turn 6. You're like, hey, there's a really dilapidated looking gray trailer with a banner hanging on it and about a dozen people in various states of sobriety hanging out on the deck on top of it.
I got a video here. If you look.
Yeah, we don't want to play the video because we'll get dinged.
Yeah, just a still picture. That little gray camper in the back is where we are.
That's where the gang is. So they saw all the action.
Yes.
To the point where, was it the Cup race or the Xfinity race, Doug, where we got the little bit of the portrait mode video, and then there's video of him taking the video on the broadcast?
Yeah, that was Saturday. I got sent a video, and I was like, oh, really? Because here's a video of you taking the video because they showed it on the TV.
Yeah. So, and we only have 2 drivers in Xfinity already advanced to the next race. So it would be a cutoff race too, wasn't it?
Yes, it would be.
Right. Both AJ Allmendinger and Noah Gragson were locked in. And but that didn't, they're like, you know what? We want the bonus points and stuff because we're going to need them. Nice, Keith. So your nephew is in turn 1 grandstands.
Yes.
Well, pre-turn 1, actually, in the main grandstand, probably right at the dog leg. And Dinger was running hard, even though it was a new car, but it was okay. He's like, there's no grip out here, and we'll try our best. I heard that a lot of lack of grip. He was like, they just redid all that just a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But they were talking about it. And actually, they did redo it all a few years before it was official part of the schedule. Like they had redone a lot of that when we were down there.
Were you there that first year? I don't think you were.
What?
No, you weren't there the first year that I was actually camped in a bank. The first year, because that year there was some people who didn't know there was going to be asphalt there, and they still tried to hammer their tent pegs into the asphalt into some of the turns. So they then had to redo a couple of a little bit of the road course.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Sure.
That was fun to watch, though.
I bet it was. Yeah. So, through a series of cautions and stuff, and then we had some, including late race cautions, we had a few restarts, and I'm pulling for my boy Dinger, and he keeps dive bombing in on the outside of all these young guns that I don't have the best opinion of. And they all raced Dinger clean. And Dinger, on the other hand, said, I'm going to a page out of y'all's book. Because I have not seen Dinger drive so dirty and aggressive in a long time. Because he was bound and determined to stay undefeated.
Yes, at the Roval.
Undefeated, which... what's that? Back to back? Nope, that would be 4 in a row. So, which was awesome to see, and helps with the bonus points going towards the end of the season, because God knows we don't want to see Gragson win the fucking title. You can barely fit that helmet on as it is. He'll be all puking and celebrating and puking and celebrating.
Xfinity Trophy isn't a cup, so you can't puke in the cup.
Well, he'd figure it away. Dent in it or something, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Dive bombing on the outside, and then just to work in, which because it's tight through that little section there, coming out of pit road. Oh yeah, and that's the other thing. Can we paint the retaining wall that separates the exit of pit road from, I guess it'd be like turn 2, because the wall being so tall and the exact same white color, like when they're doing the onboards, the guys leaving pit road, all of a sudden these cars are fucking appearing in front of them. I'm just like, where did he come from? Or get a different angle so we see the roofs or something. Because all of a sudden it's like, all of a sudden, merge! Jesus Christ. Like, where did he come from?
I was going to say, just because any other time that we've had any kind of encounters with that area, it's been, where did they come from with them talking about us?
Yeah. How did you get here? We're like, we don't know, because we clearly took a wrong turn.
If anyone's ever watched us talk about Ben and his view from the Leonard Skinner concert, it was down that way.
It was, actually.
Yeah, he took that. That's how he got there. He made a wrong turn.
I did. Wrong turn in the South Infield. Yeah. So, so Dinger wins the race, which was awesome. And that takes us into Sunday.
Little less on the let's go after this race. A little more subdued, let's go. There was no extra word in there.
Yeah, he just, there wasn't also the fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So, getting into Sunday, wow, we almost had a full field. 39 cars. Ooh. And and we should say Marco Andretti did crash out right in front of the gang and hurt his wrist again in the process too.
Yes, he did. Yes, yeah,
so, yeah. Which
he even had a couple. He had one time where he even tried to just kind of jump the one back chicane when he hit the turtles there and kind of went for a little wide.
Yeah. So so then we get into the Sunday race, and this is gonna be a great race. We've been here. These cars are basically GT cars, and they've done 1,000,005 miles worth of testing there, and it's gonna be.
Yes, not a lot of passing.
And let's be honest. I said off air, I love totally like caution-free races. Love them, because it's the whole team, and I love road racing with stock cars. Always been a passion of mine. But somehow, this was a terrible. The only storyline was when Suarez started having power steering issues.
Yeah.
That was literally the only storyline.
That, and then Chastain had his rear end issues.
Then Chastain had, which was, and Larson had issues, and he was but they were kind of, until, once again, 10 laps to go. I believe it was a debris caution, wasn't it, Doug?
There was actually about 6 to go.
6 to go? Okay. There's debris caution, and we have footage of the debris.
We have footage of the...
Because where does all the action happen all weekend? Turn 6.
We have, let me... The debris... It was a campsite.
So that, I was like, because they had those banners everywhere,
and it looked like they were just taped on.
Exactly. Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, there's a reason in the past we painted all that shit on, or that we had the plastic banners, which
with all of the technology they have now, because you see them doing it in baseball, can they not just green screen those?
They've been doing it for years. Remember NBC 20 years ago with their fucking virtual the leaderboard and shit, and they superimposed logos all the time on the tracks and the green zone.
But really, though, I did not think they were going to throw that caution.
No.
Chase Elliott was in the lead.
Yep.
It was very visible. In the race.
And it was off in the marbles. They're like, we can't leave it there. What if someone runs over? I'm like, what if someone runs over all those marbles sitting there?
I think it was Letarte or Junior. One of them said, well, it's on the racing groove just as somebody drives over it. It's not on the racing groove. Unless they go too wide.
I'll give you 2 guesses if it was Steve or Dale, and it wasn't Dale.
Because, it'll only affect them if they go too wide. Yeah, they haven't gone too wide on that turn 6 at all today. No, not at all.
Yeah. So, and then apparently everyone got the old Larry McReynolds message before the restart. Just crank down the chin strap to turn off all the blood circulation to the brain. Because then it was on like Donkey Kong. And Christopher Bell had said, hey, I'm throwing some fresh tires on because there is 2-3 seconds a lap fall off, even though you can't pass anybody. But if we're going to bunch everybody together, a fella might be able to dive bomb here and there and make up some spots and make it competitive. But I got to win. I need to win. I'm like 38 points out. I'm right above Bowman where it already says out next to him. Christopher Bell was not mentioned the entire race because it looked like he was already mathematically eliminated.
The only thing they did talk about was when they said, he's got to win. He's got to win.
Right.
So then we do that start, and they just all of a sudden it's just freaking
on.
Gregson goes in the tires.
Everybody decided they got to tag Chase Elliott. It didn't matter who you were. If you saw the Napa car, smack it.
Yep.
Which I personally have no issue with that.
Yeah, Harvick got into the back of Allmendinger first. And then Reddick got in and got his nose just in the back tire of the back right side of Elliott, spun him around.
Yep.
That car just looks so nice as it's spinning.
It does. But you notice as soon as it breaks traction, the caution comes out?
Yeah.
So, and then, but Harvick was like, hey, I want to win another race. And he was trying. But he had slightly older tires, as well as Dinger. But Christopher Bell just restart.
All of a sudden, Kyle Busch is up in there as well too.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I had to go out. We had Thanksgiving dinner, so as that last caution comes out,
right?
Oh, we got to leave.
Yeah, of course.
So then it was satellite radio. So then you got the excitement of the guys on satellite radio was just enough for me.
Yeah, exactly. And Christopher Bell,
the radio call did say that Harvick spun out Elliott, which I was like, yes. But then you watch it and it was Reddick.
Right. Yeah, he did spin the car in extra time to get their attention. I noticed that. But and then with the term I hadn't heard before, but sure, let's borrow from the sport. A walk-off win.
Yeah.
They called it a walk for the fourth time ever in NASCAR, which is basically you need to win to advance. And the first time we'd seen the walk-off win was Jeremy Mayfield, first or second ever year of the playoffs.
Yep.
For the cutoff race to get in the Richmond cutoff.
Mayfield never drove in the playoffs.
Or the chase, whatever the fuck they called it at the time. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. What do you mean no?
Well, Mayfield had his issues in 2006.
Yes.
I do not think the playoff stuff came in until after that.
Well, Kurt Busch was the last or the first winner of the playoffs, right?
No.
Because it was Kurt Busch. Because I thought Matt Kenseth won the last non-chase title.
Continue talking. I will look it up.
All right. Keith, our statistician, is active in the chat. He may know this as well. Yes, it's riveting. We've gone from 7 viewers to 4 at this point.
Obviously, there goes the Hendrick fans.
Chase walk-off with Mayfield. Thank you. So, so we're down to 8 driver. Yeah, it was the cutoff 8 driver. Larson out of the playoffs. So we will not have back-to-back champs.
No. So then there was a little bit of controversy about that, and that came out today.
Yes.
Hence, I'm wearing the Dixie Vodka Cole Custer autographed hat.
Yes.
So going into that last lap, the points were tied. Chase Briscoe with the
better finish.
The better finish in the round. So he got the tiebreaker.
Right.
So going down the backstretch, Cole Custer's crew thought he had a tire going down.
No, his crew chief announced he had a tire going. Let's be honest. It's not his crew. It wasn't a spotter. It was his crew chief that said, you have a cut tire. Check up.
Yeah.
Even though he's sitting on a pit box, looking at the front stretch, maybe looking at a monitor, looking at his car head on, coming down the backstretch.
I don't know. So
car didn't seem to be leaning to one way or the other, which is usually pretty telling with a flat tire. And you happen to have 2 people behind you and your teammate coming up fast on the inside.
But before he started putting the brakes on, Briscoe had a run on that inside.
Well, part of that was Custer, I think, laying back a bit, getting onto that said straight.
There was still about, I want to say 2 or 3 car lengths before Austin Dillon when Chase made that move to the inside.
Oh yeah, well he pulled out to pass them halfway down the backstretch because he already knew I'm not letting off. I'm giving her. We knew he was going to send it, and Any smart spotter would know, hey, that's one of the cars that's, he's probably going to send it. So be aware.
Yep.
Except you didn't have to be aware because the teammate eased everybody back. Not that much early, only a car length or two earlier than normal. Because it wasn't like he dove in 3 car lengths deeper. He only dove in 2 deeper.
Yeah.
And I'm giving him 1 going deeper, and he backed off 1.
Yeah.
So as a result,
about 4 hours ago.
Yeah. So as a result, 50 points to the driver, 50 points to the owner, $100,000 fine to the driver, $100,000 fine to the crew chief, and crew chief suspended indefinitely.
Yes, because NASCAR heard that on the radio.
Yeah, and they think it's another Michael Waltrip at racing at Clint Boyer at Richmond situation. However,
it is not Chase Elliott at Bristol because it was not Chase Elliott's crew chief that said he was going to block him.
Why do I have a ladybug flying around it here all of a sudden? It's distracting.
But it was Chase Elliott himself saying, "How can I help Larson win?"
Yes. Right. However, by looking at it, okay, so NASCAR. So you did this bad thing to change the result of a playoff race. However, Chase Briscoe is still in the playoffs. Nothing, towards him, even though it's a team thing. And they worked out that Briscoe, even if he didn't make those 3 passes, because he did get in by 3 points, it would have been the tiebreaker.
2 points.
Oh, 2 points. All right.
So he passed 2 cars.
But they said, but he passed 2 cars and his teammate. Because it was Dylan and somebody behind Dylan. He pulled past all on that backstretch. Hey, Fruitcake Tony. Apparently, it only applies to teams that speak out about NASCAR in advance. This is all still fallout from the 4 team.
Oh, for sure.
This is all, hence the Tony Stewart tweet. Hey, looking for a weekend hobby, not based in the Southeast, without the drama.
Yeah. Yeah. So there was a bunch of tweets start firing off, because everyone's starting to question NASCAR again. It's they're.
Yeah. Well, as I saw a commentator had mentioned in a video earlier today, does NASCAR think their fans are goldfish, where we don't remember stuff one week to the next? We're like, oh, there was a race on TV, and then we watch it and we just love it. No.
Yeah. It's...
Also, based off polling, worst road course race ever in NASCAR. It got a 19.8% approval rating of those polled. Yeah, 19.8% said, oh, it's a good race. No. You know who they were? Chase Elliott fans, probably. And stuff.
No, they wouldn't have said it was a good race.
No.
They wouldn't.
Christopher Bell fans.
Yes.
But that's not 19% of the sport. Anywho's. So.
And for anyone wondering, you're seeing me wearing a Napa shirt. Toyota. Bass Pro Shop. NASCAR Sprint Cup.
Yeah. And Aaron's. Which I don't even know if it's still in business.
I don't know.
So, anywho's. Getting into news. Not confirmed, but likely to happen this weekend. Kurt Busch will announce.
Confirmed a while ago on this show. Don't give me that shit.
Yeah, but now it's sounding like we've been suspecting. But, so Kurt Busch will be announcing his retirement. Also announced this morning, Richard Childress Racing has bought out the contract of Tyler Reddick.
Yes, they have.
So, imagine how the Kurt Busch announcement rumor started this afternoon. And I also want to point out Keith Campbell was the one that sent me the message this morning about Reddick's contract being bought out. So, we got to cite the source. Apparently Keith was up early this morning.
Me, a couple months ago, saying this is going to happen.
Well, we both said that. As soon as
Just like your show on Sunday, I'm taking credit.
Go back, see who actually took credit. It was both of us, anyways.
Yes.
So, it was announced here. We're saying show takes credit. Yeah, which isn't a surprise. And also, it sounds like Kurt is going to have some form of role with the team. Yep. Still,
I think that's what he wanted. He wanted that, like kind of like an advisor type role.
Yeah, like and it could even be something as simple as driver coaching to a certain extent. You know, like, hey, this is how I run road courses because
I wanted to be kind of PR as well. So,
okay, and we might see him back in the booth.
God, I hope he's back in the booth. Yeah, Friday nights. Take the other guy out.
I'll take a concussed Kurt Busch over Michael Waltrip. I'm just saying. Yeah. Also, was there another piece of news?
And for Keith, no, we will not replace it with Elkhart Lake because Charlotte will stay on the schedule.
If anything, they'll just go back to 2 oval races a year. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Was there any other team?
Post race. We were talking about it off air.
Oh.
And let's see. I'm not sure there was some stuff post race. Chase Elliott, William Byron conversing. NBC camera walks up to them. You see Chase Elliott kind of give him a look and says, "Go." The cameraman backs up 2 steps, not far enough for Chase, and Chase actually physically gives him a push, pushing him back, telling him to get the heck out of here. Which, for Chase, I can see him doing that because he's just that type of guy.
Yeah. Also, congrats to Dale Jr. on the release of his new book today. It is a children's book. So I say both Joey Logano and Noah Gragson can read it. Also, lots of pictures. Yeah, it's like Buster Goes to the Races or Buster. That's the character, Buster, which was apparently Dale Sr.'s nickname as a young child.
Oh, yeah?
Age 3 to 4. Yeah.
Now, you also had something else about Suarez.
Yes.
Because he had a rough day.
He did. He said that was literally the hardest race of his life. Yeah. And I believe him.
He will now just be leg day for the rest of the week. No need for the arm day. It's now just going to be leg day.
And if his wife wants to fool around, she'll have to be the top.
Yeah.
He's just going to lay there.
Yeah.
So, but even though he was in a lot of pain and exhausted, he was still signing autographs for kids after the races. So at least one in particular.
Chase Elliott was not doing.
Which was one more autograph, I bet, than Chase Elliott signed.
No.
What? Also was officially announced last week that Dinger will be full-time Cup.
Yes.
That was the official announcement. And that Chandler Smith will be taking over his ride.
Which, great for him.
Yeah, and I did not see that coming in a sense. No. But then I'm like, oh, so apparently, Chevy is taking Chandler Smith back, but he's not Toyota doesn't see a future for Chandler Smith because they couldn't find a ride for him.
Well, also announced last week, David Gilliland Racing will now run Toyotas.
Yes.
In the Truck Series. Taking the Kyle Busch guys on. They're going to keep who they have.
Well, they had Chandler Smith and John Hunter Nemechek.
No. David Gilliland had 2 drivers. The one guy was in that. The one guy had the hauler fire.
Yeah.
But they're going to keep their 2 guys on.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to bring over from the ARCA series. He drove the name's gone now.
The Todd Gilliland car in the ARCA series.
He's driven for Gibbs a bit. And he's even driven a truck.
Corey Heim?
That'd be it.
Who was, sharing the ride with KB this year in the 51.
Yeah. And then one other guy, not Chandler Smith, not Nemechek.
Sammy Smith?
No. The one other truck that was in KBM. I forget. But anyway, they're going to be taking over those Toyota drivers over to
Right.
the David Gillian, and Gillian will then.
You know what? And that's a good move in a sense, because my understanding is David Gillian Racing has been also like doing chassis stuff, like the stuff that Kyle has been doing for. Now, I don't know if he's still selling them at a deal. I doubt he's selling them at a deal like Kyle was, but at least someone's building chassis. So we're not going to have everyone out there running 5-year-old chassis in a couple of years. So
will KBM then turn into a 2-truck operation running Chevys?
I think you're going to see, definitely scale. It might even scale back to a 1 full-time, 1 part-time.
True.
It really, we'll have to see. We'll have to. Yeah, that's right. Haley Deegan's driving for Gilliland. That's right. That's who she drives for.
Okay, they're not keeping her.
No, she's moving up to Xfinity.
Yeah.
Apparently. She's done everything she can do in trucks, which, you know what? I believe she's done everything she can do in trucks. 3 top 10s in a year and a half.
I'm not going to say it. Yeah. I've already got in trouble for something at another show. I'm not going to say it. Although, we got no one to cancel me here. Yeah.
No, I will not fire you. And next week, me and Keith are doing the show.
Possibility. Trying to think if there was anything else. Not a whole lot.
No, I do like Chandler Smith, though, with Call Lake. I was kind of surprised Haley retains this ride, though, in the Cup.
Yes, that did shock me.
Because, like I said, he really hasn't done a whole lot. Like, I would just as likely put Landon Castle in the car.
Give him another shot at Cup, yes.
Well, and for the fact, because he's kind of turned into that Parker Kligerman type. Like, he's driven so many bad cars. Like, remember, Landon Castle was the last driver for Morgan Shepherd, for instance. So he knew, it was like, you can't wreck the car. Like, it's not an option. Because if you wreck this, we don't race next week, because that's the only one we got. And so, and you can see a bit of that in his race, like, which is a detriment in some sense, because he has that hesitancy now, which is not always a good thing, but it's a smart thing. So, rarely do we see him ever wreck onto his own. It's usually he's caught up in something. So that's why, I could see moving him up. But
another Landon Castle thing from about 8-9 years ago or more, if you can find it somewhere on social media. After he got his wisdom teeth out,
he looked like Noah Gragson.
His wife recorded the drive home.
Oh,
yes.
Oh,
yeah. He tried to convince her to stop at a sandwich shop.
I bet he did. He
wanted a really big sandwich. She's like, it's not a good idea. And then he was begging. Kind of funny.
Nice. Yeah. So other than that, I don't think we got anything else at this point in time. Vegas prediction?
Well, I'm going to guess that the odds makers are going to say that Chase Elliott is the favorite.
Or Larson.
Yeah.
No, they'll say Chase Elliott because Chase Elliott.
Because they have, I think they're contractually obligated to say that he's the favorite.
Yeah.
He's not going to win. Does Bell go back to back?
I don't know. I was almost thinking Kyle Busch, but he's been so snake bit,
I think, say with me, Truex has had wins at Vegas.
Well, you know what? Yeah. The usual suspects are going to have problems.
Yeah.
Because it's another one of those tracks where, and with lower banking, so you're going to have to put more camber in the right front, one of those. So we could have a repeat of Texas in many ways.
I think so, yeah.
So,
because I know firsthand that having too much camber in the right front really sucks, especially if you're driving on ice. It's not very good.
No. No,
I had
no,
that last week.
no. You really want wheels straight up and down on ice for maximum contact.
Plus, also the
You're not doing that fast a lap where you need to lean in the right front.
but even the yeah, I forget it. But the score on the inside of the wheel wasn't good. Aluminum shavings do not work well.
No. BK or Blaney. Interesting.
I don't know. I can't see BK.
Blaney, though, was pretty good at Texas.
Yeah.
And still hasn't won, right?
Still hasn't won. Do we look to a Logano?
He's done so little the last 4 months, but then he sat on the pole this past week somehow. I don't know.
We know that Logano will get into the Final Four.
Yep.
That's a guarantee.
He always somehow does it.
Well, it's an even numbered year.
Oh, you're going
You
on your number.
Final Four only on even numbered years.
Well, let's hope we can break that tradition.
It'd be nice, but
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. The car's too unpredictable right now. Oh, speaking of which, NASCAR is aware of the issues that we're having with the car. Also, an unnamed prominent member of either NASCAR or a major team, Doug, was riding up into the elevator. I actually watched the door bumper clear on this. Okay, and this was I know. Well, I was curious what their thoughts on the concussion thing. What it was
very bored.
They were riding up in the elevator at a track a while ago, and he said, "Just a heads up, if you see your driver about to back it into the wall, tell him to press his head back against the headrest." Which makes sense. Because you're not going to smack your head off the back. Because that foam is very hard. And that, because I watched the whole thing with Dale Jr. talking about.
I've seen a couple of things on it. If you look, that the sides are really thick.
Yes.
For the side to side.
Yes.
Which I thought the Hans device, and I've even had a Hans device on. That's kind of
the Hans device is more just for forward, for basal skull fracture.
I couldn't really do much. But, so the sides were pretty thick, but that, making the turn to go behind the head, that looked a lot thinner.
It is thinner, and it's very hard foam. So, but yeah, that was an interesting thing to say. And so, as such, like I say, NASCAR has been looking at, and they've already apparently designed a new rear clip section for next season. That should help with that. But it's something that would be too hard to implement, with 5 races to go. And especially if it affects any kind of geometry or anything, then all your notes, are thrown at, like, I get it, but I don't know. Mm-hmm. But yes, so hopefully we'll see less drivers retiring from concussions, because clearly the hit in Pocono is the reason Kurt Busch won't drive again.
Yes, and that actually thing came up in my Facebook memories that I believe it was
all the cars are built for Charlotte, basically, Keith. Let's be honest, they're all built for Charlotte.
Oh.
All right.
That was weird. Don't want that. Coming up in my Facebook memory, so let me pull it up. Was 2012, Dale Jr. missed the Charlotte race because of a concussion.
Yep. Who filled in for him?
Forget.
Brad Keselowski.
No, Keselowski was in Cup by then.
Was he?
Yes.
Because I know Brad had filled in for him before.
That may have been before that, because Keselowski was 2000. Yeah, because Keselowski's already in Cup.
Okay.
Because Keselowski was in the 88 Xfinity car in 2000.
Oh, I see what you mean, Keith. The cars were already prepped for Phoenix.
Yep.
I understand now.
No, we're hearing rumors of possible strike. The owners aren't happy with NASCAR.
Well,
NASCAR
considering what
isn't
they
happy with
want
the
to go,
numbers that are
they
being
want
put
to
out.
basically reverse. Like NASCAR was getting 7% of the TV money, the teams were getting 93%, and then now they want to reverse it and say, no, we want to take 93% and you take 7. And they're like, sponsorships are down. Driver salaries are half of what they used to be. It's obviously they're cutting to the bone. Like we have less teams members, at the track. We have less team members going over the wall. We have,
Yep.
they nickel and dime the weirdest spots, but yeah, which makes you wonder though when you hear that come up. How little is this TV contract actually for? Even though they kept saying the whole time, "Oh, it's going to be big. It's going to be big." It's not big because they probably we want this much, and they went, "Fuck you."
Yeah,
you got to give us the ratings to support it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're getting less TV money, I bet you, from NBC than they were before because now the NBC is fully into IndyCar.
Yeah, and they're not on the main network either, so hardly ever.
No, IndyCar is on the main network more per capita than the NASCAR races are. So, all right. I guess that's it.
Sure.
All right. On to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Streaming's taking ratings away. Yeah, well, shitty racing doesn't help.
Yeah. No.
Just remember, if it wasn't for the tire issues, Bristol would have been a shitty race. If it wasn't for the tire issues and power steering issues at Bristol, tire issues at Texas, it's actually going well since we've had a good race.
Well,
yep.
While you're eating your Hooters meal deal, see you, Marcus.